All right, let's get this show going. Are we on? Think we're good? Oh, no. I got the music on. There we go. That's better. Let's finish this up here. Okay. All right. All right, here we go. Good evening, everyone. Smells Like Wrasslin podcast, episode 39. Thank you for joining me this evening after another episode of AEW Dynamite. Definitely the setup for Full Gear is being felt. The beginning of the title eliminator tournament was tonight. A 2 out of 3 falls main event. A face-to-face between Britt Baker and Saraya. So a bunch of noteworthy stuff happened tonight. We're going to talk a little bit about Crown Jewel and my thoughts on that. And otherwise, thank God it's been a slow news week for wrestling, because it just felt like every single week I was getting bombarded with different bullshit, and I was kind of just getting tired of it. So, I gotta tell you, it's really soured my mood on wrestling lately, which is sad, because I love wrestling. I love it enough that I spend time doing this shit. So, I'm obviously a big fan, but I don't know, lately, like, I just couldn't sink my teeth into really anything. I mean, I actually thought tonight's Dynamite was pretty decent. It was easy to pay attention to. Normally, like, I just felt like the last couple of weeks, like, my heart wasn't in it, when I was watching it. But this was definitely one of the better Dynamites that I remember in the last couple of weeks. And that's good, man. I want to be excited. I'm actually excited for Full Gear. There were actually some results of matches tonight that I was like, whoa, I didn't really expect that. But, Full Gear seems to be an interesting show. I think that's, when is Full Gear? Like 2 weeks, right? 2, 3, like 2 weeks from now? I'm not really too sure. But, let's talk about Crown Jewel. It was a fine show, for what it was worth. I mean, I never put really any stock into the Saudi shows, because I just feel like, they just signed a contract and it's an exhibition show, and I never really I never take it very seriously. I never expect anything major to happen, or any, like, titles to be changed. I mean, under the Vince regime, whatever the fuck happened is whatever the fuck happened on that show. But, they had the match with Roman Reigns and Logan Paul, and I just can't get into the guy, man. Like, I don't like celebrities in pro wrestling. I think it's lame, and the guy had, like, 2 matches, and one of the matches was against the fucking Miz, and now he's fighting the guy for the title. I guess I would have respected the match more if it was an exhibition match. But the fact that the titles were on the line, I just thought that was stupid. You know what I mean? Like, whenever you put the title on the line against a celebrity, I cease to really care. I feel like it devalues the title. I mean, it should only be challenged by, like, serious contenders, not just guys who just decided to freaking sign a contract with WWE. And you know what? It was weird, because I was talking to my friends about this, and they loved it. I think I was the only one who just, like, couldn't care for the match. I don't know if it's just because I've watched WWE for such a long time, and, like, I've gone, like, through, like, this love-hate relationship with it. It's just, I remember I loved it when I was little. I missed the Attitude Era, but I was enjoying WCW at the time, so, like, and I got to go back and watch a lot of the highlights of the Attitude Era on the network, so, it was whatever. It was just, like, really edgy storylines, with, like, a splattering of, like, great wrestling and some, like, really larger than life personalities. So it was just a different flavor then, you know what I mean? Like, and people loved it, and it was huge, and it catapulted that company to, like, meteoric heights. Then it kind of, like, then there was, like, the Ruthless Aggression era, and I wasn't really watching wrestling during then. Like I said, I didn't really come back to watching wrestling until, I forgot what year it was, but it was Lashley versus Cena on that Great American Bash for the title. This is when Cena was going on that mega run that ended up as being stopped because he tore his pec. And then that's when, like, the title kind of, like, was, like, kind of sat with Orton for a while. To me, like, the most fun I've ever had in wrestling, I felt like from the first takeover of NXT all the way up until, I would say, like, all the way up until, like, maybe All Out of last year, I was on this just wrestling high that just kept going and going and going. You know what I mean? Like, NXT Black and Gold was awesome. There was a time, I mean, I actually remember watching the main roster when the Wyatts were around, like when Bray Wyatt was like, Bayou Bray. The awesome feuds that they had with the Shield, Shield versus Evolution, the Punk Pipe Bomb, Jericho coming back, and fighting Orton, then Shawn Michaels coming back and fighting Orton. It was just a lot of, I don't know, it was just fun and exciting, and then getting introduced into, New Japan and ROH and seeing a whole different style of wrestling that, I really started taking to. And then, I don't know, man, just a couple of months ago when, I was just tired of, what it was like? I just felt like, AEW really got hit with a lot of, I would have, it was a combination of bad luck and bad booking. You know what I mean? And I would say bad judgment. There we go. Those are the three things that I feel like if you could sum up AEW's 2022 in three things, it would be bad booking, bad judgment, and I forgot the other one. And bad luck. Yeah. I mean, the injuries, that really sucked. That really threw a lot of things out of whack. I really think that this summer was supposed to be Summer of Punk. He was going to go and defend the titles, which was eventually he was going to drop to MJF. Statlander getting hurt, I think, really threw the whole, TNT women's title. I'm sorry, what the heck is it called? The TBS women's title off balance. Injuries to Adam Cole, injuries to Bryan Danielson. There was a lot of crazy shit that was going on, and I guess you could say those dominoes started falling after Cody left. But I honestly felt like it didn't start until Punk came, and then I felt like that's when all of a sudden shit I felt like that, I felt like AEW had peaked. There was no possible, unless they started growing in the ratings, there was no possible way they could have gotten any better. They had Adam Cole, they had Bryan Danielson, they had CM Punk. Remember that All Out? What was it, last year? Last year, right? All Out? The All Out where the Lucha Brothers won the titles in the cage against the Bucks. I felt like that was when AEW boom, that was it, bro. But I don't know, I don't know what's going on. I don't know why all of a sudden my only assumption is that those injuries added into why the booking took a turn. I think if the storylines that they wanted to play out ended up playing out, I think AEW would be in a different place right now. But I think that, and another thing, I think the purchase of Ring of Honor, I don't know what that was about, man, because, what have they been doing with them? You know what I mean? I felt like that just overcrowded the roster even more. There were so many guys in Ring of Honor that, you need to put out there, and it's just and I don't know, people, it just felt like I got to a point where I was like, yo, this is all in shambles. WWE, to me, they're going to need a lot of, image rehabilitation with me, because I sit there and I watch it and I'm just waiting for the other shoe to drop every single segment, every single match, because that's how I feel like I was conditioned watching the show under Vince, because there were times where he would build up a story that I would get into and then it would just go nowhere or fall flat. And I kept on going, oh, maybe this is the time. Oh, maybe this is the time. Maybe this is part of a longer, maybe this is part of long-term booking. Maybe this is part of a longer-term storyline. And all I felt like I was just getting dragged around in circles with storylines that went nowhere. And it would take forever for at least somebody to, for the guy I want to win, or the guy I want to lose. But it was always a half measure. I only kind of got a half what I want in those situations. And to be honest, it's hard to watch the show because I'm just waiting for something stupid to happen. You know what I mean? I know that a lot of people were upset about the booking at the end of Raw. Again, I might have been the only one of those people because I didn't watch the ending of Raw. I watched Raw in bits and pieces. The fact that The Miz pinned Johnny Gargano is bullshit. What the fuck are they doing with Gargano? I fucking hate The Miz, man. It's just that's another celebrity that I feel like has overstayed his welcome. Get off my television. And a pure wrestler like Johnny Gargano, who's fucking amazing, is just doing bullshit storylines with fucking him and Dexter Lumis. Like, this fucking disgusts me. You know, I can't stand it. So, like, there's some stuff on that show that still pisses me the fuck off. But then there's other stuff where I'm like, I'm kind of waiting for, like, you know what I think, like a storyline I'm interested in? The stuff going on with the OC and Judgment Day. I like that. I like when factions feud with one another. You know what I mean? Like, they're not fighting over any belts, but the animosity between the two teams that's been building up has been awesome. And, like, I dig that. Like, there's not a belt that's involved, but I'm into the story. You know? I'm into the shit that's going on, with Karrion Kross and Drew McIntyre. You know what I mean? Like, Drew ended up winning at Clash, but it was a cage match, whatever. And Kross ended up winning, in the strap match, but it was a strap match, whatever. Like, I feel like the next match should be a straight up wrestling match, no interruptions from Scarlett, and it actually puts over Karrion Kross. Karrion Kross needs to be a guy that could win a match, like, clean, but be a heel. You know what I mean? Because, like, then you're just watching guys and you're just waiting for them to screw somebody over. Like, that, like, to me, like, that's too predictable. That's fucking boring. I don't need to see a guy that I'm just watching a great match just for the rug to be pulled out from underneath me and this guy does some stupid shit, some gimmick shit, you know? I hate that. So I'm hoping that, like, the third match that they have is actually Kross winning straight up. I like the character. I like him with Scarlett. I like the entrance. I like the ambiance, the whole thing. People think that he's boring. I mean, like, he's a big guy wrestler. You know, he's just another big hoss. I like when big hosses wrestle. Like, they're my favorites next to the cruiserweights, just seeing fucking monsters destroy one another. You know, but I'd like to see monsters fight one another with a great storyline and that could pull off some good wrestling. Two big hosses could actually pull off moves that two regular-sized guys would be able to do on their own. They just match in that same level, you know what I mean? And it means that you could see regular matches instead of just seeing big guy matches. I want to see, like, a regular match with big guys. I don't want to see a cruiserweight match with big guys. I'm talking to you, Brian Cage. I don't need to see moonsaults and somersaults, any of that stuff. You're a fucking 400-pound monster. I want to see you driving people into the ground like a goddamn tent spike. That's what I want to see. That's the shit. So, you know, there's just some stuff on that programming that, like, bores me. Like, the stuff, like, I like the promo that was going on between the New Day and the Usos. Now, granted, this is, like, the 1,000th fucking time we've seen the New Day versus the Usos. But, I mean, it's another twist on their story. Like, they want to go for who's the greatest. If the Usos win, not only do they retain the titles, but they surpass the New Day in terms of the longest title reign. That's it. They would be the GOATs. Are they going to give the Usos that honor and make them the GOATs? Are they going to actually have them lose the title? I don't know, to be honest. I really don't know, because once one of the members of the Bloodline loses the title, like, that's the beginning of the end. You know, we all saw this with Kenny and the Elite. Once someone lost the belt, the dominoes started to fall. So, I'm just like, what's, like, they gotta pick the right, they have to have a guy willing to supplant Roman before they pull that trigger, or before they're ready to start letting those dominoes fall. Is that guy gonna be Cody? I don't know. You know? I didn't mind that they took the Money in the Bank briefcase off of Austin Theory. I don't give a shit how they did it. I don't give a shit if it made the ending of Raw sound nonsensical. The fucking briefcase is not on the guy anymore. We could all rest easy. Now it's just up to regular storytelling, and we don't have to worry about Money in the Bank until hopefully WrestleMania. Because I believe, and I could be wrong, but I believe that they're getting rid of Money in the Bank, and they're going to make that as just another gimmick match in WrestleMania. Which is fine. I liked it that way. Money in the Bank shouldn't have been a fucking pay-per-view. But Vince was all about branding and gimmicking and branding and gimmicking and branding and gimmicking. So you had fucking 12 pay-per-views a year when only 3 were, like, viable. It was like watching anime with 1,000 fucking episodes of filler. You know, that's what Vince was putting out. There was these pay-per-views, but they meant nothing. They were just things that showed up. You know, it was just dumb. It was something just to point the compass in on episodes of Raw and SmackDown because they had no idea how else to drive a storyline. They were just doing shit. It was awful. But, you know, I couldn't get into the match with Roman and Logan Paul. He just pulls me out of the match. Guy goes and takes a phone and does a selfie jumping off the top rope. That was cool to a lot of people. It wasn't cool to me, man. I just thought it was lame. I was like, yo, you're a schmuck and you're fighting for the title and you're gonna like take an opportunity to do like a selfie? Like what the fuck? And before anyone says anything, that match between Orange Cassidy and Shibata, and I can't believe I forgot to mention this, that Orange Cassidy versus Shibata for the All-Atlantic title was the opening match of Dynamite. And they had Mike Tyson on commentary, and it was a fucking travesty. Mike Tyson just saying random stupid shit kept pulling me out of the match. I just want to be like, yo, why the fuck is this guy on commentary? He can't do commentary. They should have just had him as like the timekeeper and show him, they had him as the timekeeper for another match, right? And he was just sitting on the outside of the ring. Cool, man. Great. Like, he pulled me out of the match. It should have been an awesome match. And another thing that fucking annoyed me is, like the pockets and the pockets gimmick is just, and the fake kicking is just, it's now starting to like wear out its welcome with me. Like at first I thought it was funny and I thought it was cool, but you're in the ring with fucking Shibata, man. Like he's got you in a side headlock and your hands are still in your pockets. This guy could fucking murder you. Like, what are you doing? Like, this is for your title. Like, I don't mind if, like, they do that. Like, if he's, if he wants to use that as his kind of, like, he's hulking up kind of moment and shit like that. That's when he's about to fucking, pour gas on the fire. Like, he does that. Okay, I could see that and I would be willing to accept it. You know what I mean? It would have to be done really well, but I'd be willing to accept it. But, like, when you're in Shibata's return match, after almost fucking dying and almost being paralyzed after that headbutt with Okada, like, you're gonna have this guy, like, with his hands in his pockets in a title match? I'm like, come on, dude. That was the only match of Rampage I watched. I shut off the show. And you guys know me. I love fucking AEW, and I've been watching this shit for a while, but, like, Rampage is just inconsequential to me. I mean, like, now, like, I feel like they're starting to treat Rampage a little bit seriously because they're gonna have those title eliminator matches on Rampage. So will I be watching on Friday? Yeah, of course I'd be watching Friday. Why? Because there's matches that mean something on there. Because I'll tell you this right now, I 100% expected Eddie Kingston to beat All Ego Ethan Page in the first round, but Ethan Page won. And now that they had Lance Archer take out Ricky Starks, my whole bracket has gone to shit. Because my bracket was, in the finals, it was going to be Eddie Kingston versus Ricky Starks. Now Ricky Starks might be out. They might have written him out of the tournament for some reason, and Eddie Kingston's fucking eliminated. What the fuck have they been doing with Eddie Kingston? Like, ever since that thing with Sammy, like, you just kind of stopped seeing him on television. And I'm like, what's going on? Like, do they not have anything for him in storyline? Like, Eddie Kingston's a compelling enough character. I'm surprised that they didn't build up a best friends angle again with him and Mox. Because before, when they had the title match with him and Mox, it was more about Eddie coveting the title and Eddie wanting to spare. He didn't care about friendships or morality. He said, this is the title and this is what I want and I'm going to do anything to get it. But I think they could have just also made this a road to redemption story for Eddie and another notch in that belt until hopefully one day. I think it would be cool if Eddie Kingston were AEW champion one day. I think it would be a very Mick Foley-esque moment. The guy that no one expects to be champion, and he ends up being a champ. I mean, granted, if you want to have him hold on to the belt for, 3 months and have him defend it against worthwhile guys, fine, until he gets screwed out of it by somebody else, cool. Then I'd say, all right, Eddie Kingston got his due. I don't expect him to have like a year-long title reign. I don't think I could do with a year-long Eddie Kingston championship reign. But him winning the belt and the build up to it would have been cool. And if they built it up right and he beat Mox, that would have been cool too. And then I would have accepted like an MJF screwing him over and finally winning the belt, taking it away from a super over babyface Eddie Kingston. Because I'm being presumptuous when I say this because everyone wanted to see him win the title and then he got screwed out of it before he got a good reign. I mean, that could happen, but it didn't. So, I don't know what's going on with Eddie Kingston. I feel bad that I don't see Santana on television because I like Proud and Powerful. I thought it would have been cool to see like a New York, Puerto Rican tag team hold the belts, and a great story was already really written for them. I felt like the matches that they had with FTR, they kind of got screwed out of good matches because of what happened with Cash's arm getting sliced open, and then like COVID and injuries. Like, I feel like Proud and Powerful have really been the victims of a lot of bad luck and bad timing. And I'm pretty sure they would have already had a decent reign as tag champs if they weren't subject to the bullshit that's been going on right now. I've been hearing some people saying, oh, Santana and Ortiz have heat. I believe it when I see it. But right now, that's all fucking hearsay. Like, who the fuck knows? All I know is that Santana destroyed his knee in that War Games match, and that's probably the main reason why we haven't seen him on television. So they're pairing Ortiz with Kingston. Another thing is, like, where's Ruby Soho been? Like, what's going on with that? Oh, I think she was having surgery, so I think she's out. I think she got injured too many times, so I think she's taking time off. So that's another thing. But, you know, I'm glad that, I mean, it was a very convoluted way for doing it. I mean, they're making Rollins babyface right now. I love Seth Rollins. Like, there was a time where I really couldn't care for Seth Rollins. I just thought the gimmicks he was saddled with were stupid. But, I mean, him, like, laughing and the oh thing and the revolutionary and visionary thing, like, as long as he keeps on putting banger matches, I'm all fucking for it. So, you know, it was cool how they kind of put his title reign in jeopardy. It was cool how he still kind of pulled off against the odds to win it. After being destroyed by Theory and Lashley, he still won. Was it a very hodgepodge way of trying to get the briefcase off of Theory? Sure. But hey, man, whatever you had to do. I really fucking hope that this sets up Cody returning at the Rumble, winning, and taking the belt off of Roman. Or at least one of the belts off of Roman. You know what I mean? And then maybe, like, Roman holds on to the other belt and Cody has one belt and that's the way that it goes. Or maybe Cody wins both belts and then relinquishes the other because he wants to give guys a chance and they do a tournament for the other belt. That would be cool, too. So, I don't know. The stuff going on with Damage Control, I could give a fuck about. All right? I don't care about them, or I don't care about the women's tag team titles. I don't care about the women's heavyweight title. I just don't give a shit about it. Like the wrestling is just mediocre and the storylines are lame. So I just don't care. I want Johnny Gargano to really be in something fucking real. You know what I mean? But, you know, it is what it is. And of course, if you go on SmackDown, the Bloodline runs the show. All the stuff with Roman and the Usos and Sammy and Solo Sikoa and Paul Heyman is fucking gold. You know, I love it. I'm actually slowly starting to turn the corner on Alpha Academy. I mean, I still think I still wish there was, first off, I wish that Chad Gable was a super established, like, single star, like, winning belts. I don't want to see him in the tag team because all I do is miss Jason Jordan. I wish that Heavy Machinery was still a tag team, so every single time I see Otis not acting like Otis, it bothers me. You know what I mean? But hey, they're the tag team that we got. And, you know, I do think it's funny when Gable goes, thank you! I think that's funny. The swoosh thing, I could care less about. I don't like it when Leva Bates does it. I like it even less when Chad Gable does it. But, you know, I'm hoping things are turning, I think things are slowly turning around for both companies. I think there hasn't been a string of injuries, so I think they could start booking a little bit more clearly in AEW. You know, WWE, like I said, is still going through an image adjustment with me. I just think it's going to take time to rehabilitate a lot of people who I see as fucking geeks right now and, like, actually get me to believe that they're actually established stars. So, we'll see. We will see. So the show lineup tonight, World Title Eliminator Tournament. This, of course, I'm talking about Dynamite. World Title Eliminator Tournament. We got Eddie Kingston versus Ethan Page. We're going to get a promo from Jon Moxley. There was an 8-man tag, The Acclaim teaming up with FTR to fight against Swerve and Argoli and the Glory and the Gun Club. Sky Blue versus Jamie Hayter. Hearing some words from MJF and a face-to-face between Dr. Britt Baker, D&D, and Saraya. So, and then the 2 out of 3 falls match with Danielson and Guevara. So that was tonight's show. Let's take it from the top. First match of the night was the 8-man tag, AEW Tag Team Champions, The Acclaim, which is Anthony Bowens and Max Caster, along with Billy Gunn, who rushed into the ring. They kind of kicked him out early. Teaming up with FTR, which is Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler. They defeat the Guns, which is consisted of Austin and Colton Gunn, and they also had W. Morrissey with them. And Swerve in Our Glory, which is obviously Swerve Strickland and Keith Lee. Definitely I thought it was a fun match. It was a good opener to Dynamite. Lots of fun group moves and shit like that. The only real thing that I want to make note in that match that to me really stood out, I guess storyline wise, was in their opening entrances when Swerve and Our Glory came out and Keith Lee came out and Swerve wanted to kind of give him a fist bump. Keith Lee fucking ignored it. So I think Keith Lee is kind of getting fed up with the fact that Swerve has kind of fucking lost his mind. And obviously that's going to set up between the long-awaited feud between the two. I mean, they kind of did that hiccup, very blatantly teasing that they were broken up as a tag team. I mean, for the love of God, Swerve eliminated Keith Lee and then called him dead weight. So, like, come on. Like, was that not a lead-up to a heel turn, or was that not a lead-up to a heel turn? Then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they just pretended like that was it. And they won tag gold, and they were friends again, and that was pretty much it. So, finally, these two are going to start a feud and they're going to go at each other because I think it would be a fantastic feud and fantastic matches that they would put on. Swerve is a fantastic heel. Keith Lee is a fantastic babyface. I think if you give these guys about 20, 25 minutes, no commercial breaks on a pay-per-view, they would tear the fucking house down. So very excited about that. And they could both cut a promo. So I'm very excited about the storyline leading up to it and the promos that they would cut leading up to that match. Eventually, it's going to be the Acclaimed versus FTR. And I could only assume that FTR is going to win and take the belts off of the Acclaimed. That's the only reason why they're kind of just stalling it right now and doing a third match between Swerve and Our Glory. It's very possible that even after because obviously I think the Acclaimed is going to beat Swerve and Our Glory at Full Gear. But I guess you could throw in a couple of other tag teams to challenge them for the belts. I mean, the ranking system means fuck all now, so I have no idea how they're going to set up these matches in a way that it's going to get me invested in it. Because like I say every fucking week for 39 episodes, that I can't get into a title match unless there's an actual build-up to it. Otherwise, why the fuck do I care? That's why people care about matches, because there's a build and a story to it. When you just make matches and they're only just matches, like, you're not going to get that kind of emotional investment that you would if you did put the time and effort to build up a story. I say this every fucking week. So I'm just curious as to how all this stuff is going to play out, because I don't know how they're going to write title matches anymore. I honestly don't. In the beginning, I felt like I had a handle on it, and whoever challenged for the title, most of the time it made sense. Now none of the time it makes sense. So I don't know. The next thing they go to a video package of MJF. Now, apparently MJF was on the Pardon My Take radio show. Apparently it's supposed to be the #1 podcast. I've never fucking heard of them. He was talking about how the doctors told him not to travel after the attack by the Firm when they put him through the table a couple of Dynamites ago. He said that history is going to be made at Full Gear. He compared himself to Bruno Sammartino, John Cena, The Rock. MJF says he doesn't like Jon Moxley. He thinks he's trash, and he comes from a poor place, but he respects him because he had to work his ass off where he's at. But he says, but MJF says that he was born to do this, to act in movies, to wave the flag at AEW, bring pro wrestling back to where it was. MJF said that the AEW, his spotlight in AEW has always been stolen from him. He says it was stolen from him when he was saddled with Jericho. It was stolen from him when he fought against Cody and Cody had that neck tattoo. It was stolen from him when he made that return, and then the press conference with Punk overshadowed that. It was just constantly, every single time MJF had a moment, there was something else to kind of detract our attention away from him and do it on something else. Oh, Khan in the chat's asking thoughts on my thoughts on AEW doing a UK show. I think that's freaking phenomenal. I think you load up that show. I think you do something big on that show. That crowd is going to be hot. That crowd is going to be hot. They should do something along the lines of Grand Slam and do like a 2-hour Rampage for that shit. And put the best. That's a show where you just put on dream matches. You know, just come out on, with the right foot with the UK. Give them everything that they want. Put on dream matches. Get fucking Ospreay. Get Jay White. You have a relationship with New Japan. Time to motherfucking cash in. Put all the people that the UK guys want to see, all the biggest names, all the smallest names, put them on Rampage, all that shit. You go all out for the UK. UK has never had an AEW show. Never. This is where you freaking open up a can. You do a title change on that night. You unveil a big UK signing that night if you can. Something big. That's what you do. You do it because the UK fans deserve it. It's a great television moment. It's going to be a hot crowd. You should capitalize on it. You should do a lot of big matches that are marquee, that make sense, that draw eyes to the product. Because that UK crowd is just the beautiful sprinkles on the pro wrestling Sunday that they could have. The cherry motherfucking on top. Because that crowd hot, it gets people like, wow, people are really interested into this. People are fucking rabid about this shit. Why? And it gets people interested. Sometimes the crowd reaction is just the little catnip that you need to get people in. So, Con, in regards to your question, I think it's a great idea. I think AEW has to go all out on that UK show. They should make a big impact. A big impact. What else? I don't know, Richie. It depends on what fucking title we're talking about here. All right? Because no way Pac's winning the AEW title anytime soon. No way. But a title, or maybe a title defense, or maybe a really good grudge match between him and somebody else, definitely. How would I book a Dynamite and Rampage? What, for the UK? Or just in general? I mean, the UK, I guess I pretty much spelled it out. You go all out. You go all out. You know what you should do? You should freaking, if it hasn't happened yet, Omega versus Ospreay on AEW, on Dynamite, in the UK. Absolutely. Opening fucking match. Just like what they did in Grand Slam, right? Just like what they did in Grand Slam, and they started it off with Omega versus Danielson, that's what you would fucking do. Or, you know what you do? Danielson versus Zack Sabre Jr. That's another match that you would do. If you don't do those matches in the UK, Tony, if you don't do those matches in the UK, dude, I'm telling you, you are printing money with those matches. You're printing money with those matches. Do any match, a hot tag team against Aussie Open. You do that, right? I don't even know what else. But, you go all out with your UK talent. If Jamie Hayter either has the title or doesn't have the title, that would be pretty cool to see Jamie Hayter win in the UK. That would be fucking awesome. You got to do something big for the UK crowd. That's what I would do. And then, then you book fun matches for Rampage. I mean, let's be real. If people aren't really taking Rampage seriously, then you put the matches on Rampage that just showcase, talent that people enjoy, and they have a good time watching, and and you'll get good pops, and you put that on Rampage, like Danhausen or Best Friends or something like that. You have Jericho wrestle somebody. I don't know who, but he should wrestle someone. But I would stack that show, my friend. I would stack it to the motherfucking rafters. All right? That's what I would do. That's what I would do big time. I would do, or you know what? If you want to get people to watch Rampage, you split the two big matches up. You do Omega and Ospreay on Dynamite, and you do Danielson and Zack Sabre Jr. on Rampage. You want to get me to watch Rampage and take a show fucking seriously, like a 2-hour Rampage? You headline that with freaking Daniel Bryan versus Zack Sabre Jr. That would be fucking dope. That would be fucking awesome. And also remember, they said that they're coming to the UK in 2023, but we don't know in what shape or form. It's very possible that they could just do a UK pay-per-view. Well, Nigel can't wrestle anymore because of his condition, and Regal can't wrestle anymore because he's too old. What I would have liked would have been like a Jericho versus Trent Seven match, but Trent Seven's with WWE, so that'll never happen. So I don't know. But yeah, I would stack that show. I would stack that show to the fucking gills. Absolutely. Um, so yeah, MJF, I guess, is like this kind of tweener character right now. Like even Moxley said in his promo that like MJF was going through like this existential crisis because he's an asshole, but he's giving people props, but he would never give people props, but he's still kind of fucking asshole. Trent Seven got released? Get the fuck out of here. I would do Jericho versus Trent Seven, and I would make it a surprise. I would have Jericho come in. He would just be like, "Oh, fuck the UK, blah blah blah." I could take on any of your guys and have Trent Seven come out. I would do that shit absolutely. Jericho versus Trent Seven, that'd be fucking great. I'd be all for it. So Tyler Bate is still with WWE, right? Because didn't he lose his title to Braun Breaker? Didn't they do like a title unification? Or something like that. They were getting rid of NXT UK and they were gonna do NXT Europe. All right, I stand corrected. That would be a great match. That's what I would do. 100%. 100%. So I think, honestly, it's MJF's time. I think he's going to beat Moxley at Full Gear. I think it's going to be a great match, especially if they let him fight. Either A, they're going to let him fight straight up, and he's going to be a babyface, and he's going to win. Or B, he's going to do a super heel shit, and Regal's going to, like, turn or be a part of it in some way, and it's going to get a big pop because Moxley got betrayed, and then MJF wins by being an asshole, and all the people that love him for being an asshole cheer, and all the people that love him because they just love MJF are going to cheer anyways if he goes babyface. So it's a win-win. It's a win-win. Yeah, JD McDonough. Yeah. That was Jordan Devlin, right? Yeah. Stokely Hathaway with the line of the night saying that MJF is dick riding Jon Moxley, and MJF did the great offense of dick riding without a license. That was the funniest shit I heard all night. He said that they were friends and whatever, he doesn't need MJF, and he's gonna do this without him, and he's gonna see Max in hell. So I have a feeling that Stokely is going to be a thorn in the side of the beginning of MJF's title reign. And I'm going to call this right now. Tony Khan has a tendency of every single time someone is a new champion, they always fight a big guy. So I'm going to assume that one of the first people that MJF defends the title against is going to be W. Morrissey. Putting that out there right now. I'm not saying I like that booking. I'm not saying I want that booking, but I would not be surprised if one of the first challengers for MJF's title is going to be W. Morrissey, because they're going to start a storyline where Stokely Hathaway is going to try and, ruin MJF's reign, and MJF's pretty much going to beat every single person from the firm. There'll be a great match he'll have with Ethan Page, so he'll have like a great rivalry one-on-one wrestling match. He'll have his David versus Goliath moment by beating W. Morrissey. So, he's going to fight guys from there, and that's going to be his shit. Like, it books itself. I'm not saying I like the booking. I'm not saying I want the booking. I'm just saying if I was to predict a Tony Khan booking decision, that's my prediction. All right? So, Ethan Page defeats Eddie Kingston to advance in the title eliminator tournament. I was actually shocked about this. Like I said, I was expecting that it was going to be Kingston versus Starks at Full Gear, which would have been a fantastic match, and definitely they could have cut fantastic promos on one another. So I'm a little sad that I'm not going to see that happen, but it was still a fantastic match. Page beats Kingston with an avalanche ego's edge from the top rope and totally fucking decimates Eddie Kingston. I was just surprised that I was surprised that happened. But I do not mind Ethan Page moving up in this tournament. I like Ethan Page. I think there's a lot of upside with Ethan Page. I think he's a great wrestler, and I think he's a great personality and a great character. He's just been the victim of just like there's too many shining stars in AEW, and he just didn't shine bright enough to get the spot that he has. But now that a lot of people are injured or suspended, you're seeing a lot of people that you don't normally see start getting shots. And some of them are doing quite well with the shots that they're being given. You could definitely say that the Acclaimed would be one of them. And I think Ethan Page and Ricky Starks are going to be beneficiaries of this, because that middle card right now, they need to start building up some people. There needs to be people that like your new champions need to fight instead of the same old people. So, We'll see what happens. Renee Paquette is backstage with Jose the assistant, Rush, and the Dark Order. Jose said he wanted 10 at this little soiree that they had, specifically because because Rush is in the tournament, he's going to fight Bandito. That's supposed to happen Friday on Rampage. He's saying that once Rush wins the whole thing and becomes AEW champ, he's going to give 10 a title shot. So, and then he pointed out Uno, Silver, and Reynolds, saying that they're never going to get one. So, John Silver calls Rush a Rush bag, and there was a pull apart. So, I don't know. I mean, Dark Order, I thought that they were good as a trio. I like the story that they built up in the trios tournament that ended up being Hangman and the Dark Order versus Kenny and the Elite. It gives something for Hangman to do when he's not challenging for titles and wearing stupid shit on television. So, I mean, I don't know. But, right now, I feel bad because the Dark Order pretty much got completely derailed when Brody died. I'm pretty sure that there were plans for the Dark Order. I mean, they were fucking such a staple on BTE, and the shit that they were doing was so funny. I mean, eventually it probably would have got too meta, and it would have been too insider, and people wouldn't understand what the Dark Order was doing on television, because, let's be real, in hindsight, AEW does that a lot. It's just a little too insider. But, whatever. I mean, if they want to create intrigue and start getting people to wonder, what are these jokes that everyone's laughing at? I want to know. Okay, I can see that train of thought. Do a lot of people do that? No, we're part of the too long don't read generation. So no one's going to fucking dig to see that shit. So I don't know what they're trying. But, yeah, that's pretty much it. And also, 10 and Rush have been, feuding with each other for the past couple of weeks. So it's just whatever. Arya Daivari comes out. He says he wants to trade his butler for the TNT title. Wardlow comes out, beats the ever-living piss out of Daivari, calls out Powerhouse Hobbs, challenges him, for a match for the title. Says he's gonna take every title in the company. Heat's been building between Wardlow and Samoa Joe for a while, and it kind of came a little bit, it came to a head tonight, definitely. But the real kind of push was happening during Rampage. So Joe snaps, takes Wardlow out from behind with a belt shot to the back of the head, and then he chokes him out in a rear naked choke. So I don't know if this is going to be a triple threat. I don't know whose belts are going to be on the line, because Joe is the ROH TV title. The ROH TV champion. Wardlow's the TNT champion. Hobbs has no belt. Is it all going to be for Wardlow's belts? Are both belts going to be on the line? What's going on? But I love me big hoss matches. So Samoa Joe and Wardlow and Powerhouse Hobbs is going to be fucking awesome if they do that triple threat, especially if they do that Full Gear. Oh, I'm so excited. Renee Paquette's backstage again with Jade Cargill and the baddies. This is by far the dumbest fucking storyline in AEW. I think storylines where people steal a belt and then they have open challenge matches for the belt is the dumbest shit I've ever seen in my life. I don't know why Jade hasn't hunted this bitch down and destroyed her instead of being I'm just going to go on camera and that's pretty much it and I want you to give it back to me. I think it's stupid. I cannot wait until this whole feud ends. I'm hoping that at the end of this feud, that Statlander comes out. They finally do the build to the one woman who's going to take the belt off of Jade. And then that's when I'm going to be interested in the TBS title again. But right now, I could give less of a fuck. Britt Baker and Saraya had a face-to-face. I'm not going to lie. I had low expectations for this one. I had very low expectations for this one because the first Saraya promo was kind of lame. But she said she was nervous, blah, blah, blah. You want me to give her the benefit of the doubt? Fine. I'll give her the benefit of the doubt. You want me to be a nice guy? I'll be a nice guy. But, I thought this one actually, I sat and listened. I didn't change the channel to watch the Knicks lose to the Nets, which I was very tempted to do. I'd be like, hey, listen, someone could just tell me what happened, so I'll just look it up online and what happened, because whatever. Obviously it's going to be Sarai being cleared. There's no way they're going to build all this shit. She's going to be like, I'm not really cleared, but I have my friend from Japan to fight. And it's Riho or some bullshit. thank God that didn't happen. But, you know, she got the promo. She said that she's cleared. Britt obviously goes on the whole thing where she built the women's division. That she doesn't even know if Saraya can even go because it's been so long. That she keeps on saying it's her house, but she didn't lay one brick on that in that foundation. She said that that Saraya left her house and walked into mine. So, like, you know, it was all good stuff. I mean, it's been a long time since I've seen, like, Britt Baker talk to someone who I was interested in her talking to. And to be quite honest, Saraya still cuts a way better promo than Thunder Rosa. Which, by the way, why is Thunder Rosa the only person that gets, like, an interim belt like that? You know what I mean? Because, what, they did it for Punk? Like, I feel like at this point in time, like, strip the interim thing off of her and make Tony the actual champ. You know what I mean? Like, what are you going to do? You're going to have Tony hold on to an interim belt. Then you're going to have Thunder Rosa come back and what, lose? What, win? You know, like, I just don't understand. Like, what the fuck is going on? But, you know, there they go. They're going to fight. And, Saraya did the, whatever her move is. They used to call it the Rampage. I don't know what it's called now. I guess it's whatever it's going to be. And maybe she's going to change it, but it is the Rampage, and she hit her with it. So they're going to fight at Full Gear. You know, Saraya said that Baker was given her position by Tony Khan, fed all of QT Marshall's trainees, been in front of the camera for only 3 years. Saraya's been in the game for 17 years. She's been hit by a car, wrestled the same day because she loves the business. She's wrestled everywhere before wrestling was even a thing for Britt Baker. She said she wrestled in places where where she wasn't paid. She got turned down from places to wrestle because she was a woman. And Saraya's been, you know, publicly embarrassed. Obviously, that was a nod to her sex tapes leaking. She battled her drug addiction publicly, given her body and her career to the business. So, you know, like, it built a good story. It built a good comeback story. And even Paige said, like, you know, I mean, Saraya said that, you know, this is going to be the first chapter in her comeback story, but for Britt, it's going to be the biggest match of her career. So I thought it was very interesting. I mean, obviously, Paige is going to win. You know, Britt Baker could take the loss. She's one of the biggest, if not the biggest star in that division. So, you know, hopefully they put on a good match, to be quite honest. Like, hopefully Paige could still go. We haven't seen her in a very fucking long time. Women's wrestling has evolved since then. You know, she's not the, you know, before she was one of the rare talented women in a roster full of fucking losers. And now she's in a roster where there's actually women there who could actually go. People like Toni Storm, people like, you know, Jamie Hayter. You know, like, there are women who could actually fucking wrestle. So I'm very curious to see how this match is going to turn out. Obviously big pressure on Saraya, whatever the fuck. I could only assume that she's going to be a little rusty and a little shaky. I am not expecting a smooth match from her at Full Gear, so we will see. And can Britt carry Saraya if she or Saraya, whatever the fuck? If Saraya needs to be carried, can Britt carry her to a decent match? We'll see. Obviously at the end, Baker tried to hit her with a cheap shot, and then Paige hit her with the Rampage. Backstage, they cut to Sanjay Dutt, Jay Lethal, and Satnam Singh. They were QT Marshall in the factory. Sanjay Dutt pays Cole Carter for his services because Cole Carter, like, revealed himself. Nobody knew who the fuck he was. I don't even know who the fuck he was. His name is Cole Carter. He's part of the factory now. Orange Cassidy and the Best Friends show up. Lee Johnson and Orange Cassidy for the All-Atlantic title was made for Rampage. I guess that was because Lee Moriarty attacked Danhausen. And then Trent Beretta versus Jay Lethal was made for Dynamite literally right there and then. So right after the commercial, it was Jay Lethal versus fucking Trent Beretta. It was an okay match. It really had no build. No one saw it out of nowhere. It was just two guys who know how to work very well. I love Jay Lethal. I love Trent Beretta. Jay Lethal's just so smooth in the ring. When he pulled off that lethal injection at the end, it was so dope. Like, Jay Lethal really is, like, a fantastic, fantastic fucking wrestler. And I just wish that there was, I just wish that he was just in a bigger position in the company to really showcase his chops. He's a great character and a great wrestler. You give him good material, he can knock it out of the park. There's just not enough room in AEW, and they're just trying to do too many things with too little time. putting over young talent, establishing some of their main draws and established talent, protecting their legends. It's a lot, and they have not been balancing it very well as of late. Jon Moxley had an in-ring promo, said that he met Regal when he was 25, thinking that he was the shit. He went to wrestle Regal, and Regal just destroyed him. It took a lot of years after that for Moxley to finally get one over on Regal, and then Regal said, and now the real work begins. He said that reminds him of MJF. MJ's at the point right now where he thinks he's the shit. And I think, and Moxley's going to be the guy to show him where he is on the pecking order, just like what Regal did to him. He says that, MJF says that he's the devil, but, MJF, it goes through, Mox has seen the devil, he's seen things, he's seen men who do evil things, blah, 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 and he just doesn't see that in MJF, so he basically calls MJF out in this bullshit. And there we go. They're, again, trying to build a match between Mox and MJF. They've yet to stand in the ring together for quite some time. I can't remember the last time they stood in the ring that was actually memorable. But, the build continues for those two. They do another video package about the Elite, but this time it was interspersed with obvious promotional material for Full Gear. It didn't outright say Full Gear, but you saw the gears, you saw the New York skyline, you saw the Brooklyn Bridge. So something involving the Elite is going to go down in Full Gear. Either it's going to be revealed what's going to happen, and they're going to show up at Full Gear for something, or they're going to build up this Trios title match, and it's going to be the Elite versus Death Triangle for the Trios titles. So that might be something interesting also. Jamie Hayter fights Sky Blue and defeats her. A solid match. Obviously, they're trying to build up Hayter for her title match against Toni Storm at Full Gear. So they fed her Sky Blue. Sky Blue, she's getting better and better each week. Obviously, I guess in the future, they'll probably push her as like a character or whatnot. Because really, she's just kind of like the plucky young rookie who wrestles. I mean, she's never gone heel. She's a white meat babyface, so like I get it. So, that's another thing that's going on there. But, Hayter, I don't expect Hayter to beat Toni Storm. I think it's going to be another notch in Toni Storm's belt. I cannot wait for Hayter to eventually win the belt or at least start a really good feud with Britt Baker. So we'll see. I would also like it if Jamie Hayter lost her match before Britt had hers, and Jamie Hayter costs Britt the victory against Saraya, and which starts a feud between Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker, and that's another interesting dynamic you could put in the women's division. That would actually make me interested to actually want to follow the storyline, because that Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker thing has been the longest brewing thing since MJF and Wardlow. And MJF and Wardlow definitely has a payoff. I mean, if you don't think Wardlow's eventually going to fight MJF for the title, you got another thing coming. And it might actually be MJF being face and Wardlow being heel. I mean, he maybe loses the TNT belt in this whole thing. They give it to Hobbs, and Wardlow goes heel, and he eventually is one of the first foils for MJF. Like I said, a big guy for your champion. I could definitely see that happening. And that adds another dynamic to it because they have history. So we'll see. They had a 2 out of 3 falls match. Bryan Danielson defeats Sammy Guevara. Guevara got the first... Danielson got the first fall because Guevara threw a chair and hit him in front of the referee. So they went that route by the heel cost himself a pin so he could guarantee himself a pin. So instead of him having to really get 2 earned pins, he only needs 1. It was a solid match. Guevara's a great wrestler. I know a lot of people give him shit for whatever he does outside the ring. I don't give a fuck what he does outside the ring. I honestly don't give a shit. I just want to know that you're putting on good wrestling matches. And he sure as fuck put on a good wrestling match with Bryan Danielson. I mean, who can't put on a good wrestling match with Bryan Danielson? But the kid's got talent. And I thought it was a really awesome match. And I think Danielson's the fucking man. And I think that 4-way match that he's going to have for the ROH belt is going to be really freaking awesome. And again, like I said, the eventual Danielson versus Zack Sabre Jr. match is going to happen. And it's going to be fucking glorious. So, that pretty much was the end of the show. And that pretty much marks the end of the podcast. Unless anyone in the chat has gotten any questions, I'm going to sign off for tonight. I am, like, this fucking close to doing a show on Friday night after SmackDown, because like I just am getting a little bit more and more interested in the WWE programming as it goes along, and I know that you guys who are listening are into it too. So we might as well just talk about it together. So I don't know when this is gonna start, but I think it might start sometime in December, close to the launch of um our NXT show with me and John from hitskipintro.com, and also um the start of the Binging Streams and Broken Dreams podcast is also launching on that day. So I think it's going to be a big launch weekend for the channel and for Hit Skip Intro. Um, I might even also launch the gaming streaming then, streaming Warzone with Boon Syndication and a handful of other games. So, yeah, a lot of things are going on. Stay tuned to the channel for all news. Like I said before, please visit hitskipintro.com. That is our affiliate website on TV and movie. Both myself, John, his brother Sean, Sean's wife Courtney are all a part of that website. The website's constantly evolving. It looks completely different from when I last mentioned it to you guys. A lot easier to look at and navigate. There's a lot more content on there. I will be writing a Yellowstone review for the for the show for the premiere that's coming out this Sunday, 2-hour premiere. Also, visit our friends at Boon Syndication. Currently, right now, they're doing a playthrough of Scorn, the game. I believe soon we will probably be doing some Warzone streaming and God of War streaming, and a lot of great stuff is going to be coming on that channel. For those of you out there who are fans of gaming, you will definitely enjoy that a lot. Another promotion, definitely at the end, lots of promotions now at the end of the show, because we got our hands on a lot of cookie jars here. But December 13th, 8:30 p.m. at Rockwood Music Hall in New York, Evan is going to be playing a live show there. It is 8:30 at Stage 3. Tickets are on sale now at rockwoodmusichall.com. It is $10 general admission tickets. So if anyone in the New York area wants to see an amazing artist and fantastic singer-songwriter, definitely go on rockwoodmusichall.com. Tickets are on sale for Evan. That's EVVAN. It's December 13th. 8:30 p.m. Stage 3. So definitely go over there and buy a ticket. I will be there. If you have never met me in person and you're watching and you want to say meet and greet, definitely buy a ticket to the show. I will be there, and I'd love to talk and chat wrestling with you. Yeah, that's pretty much it for the show. I want to thank you all for tuning in today. And I will see you next week. Talk to you later.